on isn't working, and or what to do if you're losing patience in the process. Okay, so what you're experiencing is incredibly common, first of all. And I just want to give you a couple of pointers, because usually when we're losing patience in the process, or we feel like what we're doing isn't working, it has nothing to do with what we're doing not working, and it has everything to do with something else. So first of all, when we feel like you're getting disheartened, about the process, or you feel like you're losing hope, you're having some of those thoughts coming in that's like, oh, what's the point? What's the point? Nothing I'm doing is working. It's not going to work. It's going to continue to not work. And I'm sitting here spinning my wheels, wasting my energy. And why? Why am I doing that, right? These are the voices that start coming up. And they get to come up at any point in the process of you working. They can come up right at the beginning, they can come up in the middle, they can come up as things start going well. And we're going to talk about just a couple of things that you can do when this starts to happen. Okay. The first thing that I want you to notice is it true? Is it true that what you're doing isn't working? Okay. But how you're going to do that is you're going to look at and put yourself in the position that you were before you started doing the thing that you're doing, whether it's a project, whether it's a course, whether it's a business. You put yourself in the position that you were in before, as much as you can, with as great detail as you possibly can. Okay. Then you put yourself in that position of what you were doing and where you were before. I feel someone say hi, but I don't see the comments because my Facebook page isn't up. Hi. I can feel you. Whoever you are. I'm going to pull up Divine Money Manifesting just in case there's someone there. Perfect. Oh, I can feel your eyes. Cool. Hi. Thanks for joining. Okay. So how much money were you making before you started the thing? What was your average income? And sometimes what you want to do is you actually want to look at your income and you want to average it out. You want to add it up, especially if you're self-employed. Add it up. Add up the last 6 months before you started the thing and then divide it by 6. Or add up the last 3 months before you started the thing and divide it by 3. Here's the catch. I don't care if those were strange months, if those were anomalies. This is where you were before you started your thing. Okay, add it up, even it up. Cool. Where were you in your relationships? Where were you in your level of happiness, in your level of contentment, in your level of fulfillment? Okay, where were you? How did you feel? And it's important to actually really reconnect with the reality as opposed to let your brain tell you stories. And we'll talk about why in just a minute. Okay. Now, where are you now? Add up your most recent 3 months and average your income out. Have you moved the needle at all in your income? Yes or no? How is your level of happiness? How is your level of contentment? What is the action that you're taking look like? How is your level of pride or fulfillment, etc., etc.? Like, compared to where you were when you started, but as realistically as possible as where you were, to now, what has shifted? What has changed? Okay. If it's true, if it is true that what you're doing isn't working, then something needs to be tweaked. I mean, maybe it's a time thing. If you're 2 weeks in, give it more time. If you're 3 months in, something needs to be tweaked. Something should be working by now if you're 3 months in. So maybe it's a belief that you need to be tweaked. Maybe it's some healing. Maybe you refuse to receive what it is that you're asking for. Maybe you're not even asking. Maybe you are stuck with something to do with your behavior, or maybe you're confused or overwhelmed and you need some outside guidance. Okay. Whatever it is, if it's not working, it needs to be tweaked. Okay, cool. But most of the time, this narrative, this idea, this feeling like nothing is working comes up when something is working. Sometimes it comes up when something is working. And I'm not necessarily talking about only a very microscopic view of your, I'm trying to find the camera, there it is, of your current life. I'm talking about pan out, right? Sometimes my clients will go into sabotage a year after they have had the very best year of their entire business, right? And this narrative comes in, it's not working. I should give up. No, it's not that it's not working. It's that it did work. It way worked. They moved quantum leaps in their growth, in their healing, in their money, in their income, in their money mindset, in their contentment, in their happiness levels, in their levels of love in their life, right? Because this story, it's not working, is the easiest way that your brain can find to stop you from doing what you're doing when what you're doing is working. Now, why would your brain do that? Well, we talk about it quite a lot, but we'll talk about it again just real quick. Your brain has one job, and that is to keep you the same. That is to keep you where you are. It is a scientific process, reaction called homeostasis, which is your body and brain's innate drive to stay the same. And it's programmed to a cellular level. So when things start to change, when you start to grow, when you start to make more money, when you start to become more happy, the body actually senses that as a threat. It's no longer safe, which is crazy, right? Good things should not be perceived as the body to be a threat. Like, that's really uncool. Jenica, hi. Hey, Lindsay. Oh, yeah, so it's right on point for you. Good. Okay, so when the brain senses that something is working, all of a sudden it's not safe. Then it goes into overdrive to get you to stop what you're doing as soon as possible. Some of the quickest ways that the body knows how, the brain knows how to stop you, is to convince you that what you're doing isn't working. Because if you think it's not working, then you'll stop. You'll try something else. Or you'll stop trying completely, which is what the brain is hoping. Just stop trying. Can't you just stay on the sofa and eat grapes and just never move, never leave the house, never do anything scary or dangerous or brave, right? The brain is like, stay in a plastic bubble, please. So anything new and outside of that, the brain really goes into overdrive to stop you. Okay. So most often, this is a sabotage mechanism when this comes up. Okay. It could be coming from a desire that you wish things would go faster. That's very valid. Unfortunately, they don't. Everything is set up to go on the time frame of the universe, and that's it. We can't speed it up. We can't slow it down. It happens according to the divine plan. Now, we can ask for it to be sped up, but whether it gets sped up or not is totally up to the powers that are reworking existence to bring you what you want. So even though you can ask for it to be sped up, you can't demand. You can't say, I will have it by this time. In my journal, I have a whole thing about setting a time-based deadline, setting a time-based goal. I mean, you can ask for it, but the moment you start working towards it as if it is a certainty is the moment you set yourself up for disappointment and eventual crushed feelings and the idea that you're a failure. And don't go down that route, okay? Because everything happens in divine timing, and that is it. All. The end. You are not God. I am not God. I am not the creator of the universe, even though, yes, we are all one, but I am a specific manifestation of it. That's name is Abby. I am not creator. I don't have access to all of my creative powers right now. Okay. So we can't speed it up. We can't slow it down. So it might simply be just a time factor. It's not time yet. Okay. Sometimes it's not working or losing hope in the process comes from that feeling of shame that you might be carrying, of feeling like you should be further ahead by now. Because that story in your head sounds a bit like, This fucking should have happened yesterday, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. This should have already been happening, right? And how hot is it? Oh, for your poor soul, for your poor body, for your poor heart to try to accomplish something that should have already been accomplished 15 years ago. I mean, there's no way. Time travel hasn't been physically invented yet. We can do it spiritually. We can't do it physically yet. I mean, it kind of has, but we won't have access to it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So if time travel could exist, then you could say, this is not happening fast enough. You could hop in your time machine, go back 15 years ago, and do then what you're doing now. Cool. Or maybe 20 years ago, so that it has some time delay, so that 15 years ago it's happened, and bada bing, bada boom, you've hit your goal 15 years ahead of schedule. Like, everything is cool. But until you have that capacity, this idea of it should have already happened is only going to cause you stress. It's only going to weigh you down. Right, Jenica can definitely relate to that. Oh, Lindsay, that's so sweet. I totally understand that. And when I say that, when I feel the need to apologize and my partner says, you have nothing to apologize for, I'm like, yeah, but I want to. And I have permission to, and whenever I want to. I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. Okay, so cut yourself some slack. Like, all of that old, it should have happened already, you got to let go. Now you can do that with a support person, an emotional support person. You can do it in therapy. You can do it in a group. You can do it in a program. However you need to do it, you need to be able to let that go now. That's all done. You can't go back and redo it. All you have is this moment moving forward. That's it. That's all you've got. So saying to yourself from one day to the next, should have been done by now, is unrealistic, because you look back at yesterday and go, okay, maybe my expectations are slightly unrealistic and it can't be done by now. Cool. And then you deal with the shame, you deal with the grief, you deal with the guilt that you might be carrying around. I should have done it. Like, it should be done already. Okay. It's a whole thing. Or it might be coming from a fear, a deep fear that we're doing it wrong. And that's why it's not happening, that we're doing it wrong, that we're missing a piece, that there's some kind of a secret something that we haven't been clued into. And it's all going on behind the scenes, and other people have access to it and they're already doing it. And it's something that if I knew the right thing to do, I would be doing it by now. And now I'm behind the 8 ball, and all of these other stories that come in. And the truth is, if you're listening to your intuition and you're taking aligned action on your intuitive hits, you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're on your timeline. You're in your divine plan. There is no faster way that you could be doing it. Now, if you are not listening to your intuition or taking aligned action, then there's a little bit of work to be done to get you back onto your divine plan. We're going to talk about divine plan in my second live, in my next video about intuition. But in the meantime, if you have asked for it during manifestation and the universe has said yes, okay, then it's coming. It's coming. It is a fact. It is on its way. So apart from that, then it's just timing. Then it's just patience. It's just breathing. It's making sure that you can receive it when it arrives. So I want to give you a couple of mantras, okay, that you can use when you start to get into this funk of feeling like it's not working, or wishing or losing patience in the process. Okay. Mantra number 1. I wish this would go faster, but unfortunately, I can't control that. Therefore, I will do my best to surrender to divine timing. I wish it would go faster, but I don't control that. I will do my absolute best to surrender to divine timing. Okay. And the second mantra I want to give you is, Everything happens on its own timeline, no matter what I think the timeline should be. I'm okay. It's okay. Everything happens on its own timeline, regardless of what I think and expect the timeline to be. You can add, I don't like it, but it is what it is. And that's the truth of it, my darlings. That is the truth. The real key, the key here is if you feel like it's not working, but you see evidence that it is working, this is the time that you have to push through. You must push through. You must keep taking the steps that are leading to the thing that is working. You must keep doing the same things, because this is the moment that your brain is trying to get you to stop. So you come back down to where you were when you started. Okay. Now, the good news is you can never go all the way back down, because you can never unlearn what you've already learned, but you can get quite close, especially in income, right? So this is the exact moment when you're in this spot, when you feel like nothing's working, reach out for help, reach out for support, reach out to your support group, your support person. I feel like it's not working. Let them be your tether back to life, because above all, you have to keep pushing through. Got it? All right, my loves, thank you for tuning in. I shall be back in just a couple of minutes with some stuff about intuition. Love, love, love.